What is up, YouTube? We are on day 20 of JavaScript with Joe. Thank you very much for coming. If you are here, I've got the chat open while I'm coding, so if you have any questions at any point, let me know. If I could ask everyone in the chat just to let me know what their sort of level is with JavaScript, whether they've programmed before, whether this is their first language, that kind of stuff. It'll help me aim this at whoever is actually taking the time to watch it live, and thank you very much. So the code will be available here always. This website's called replit.com. It just gives you a nice little interface where you can put your files on the left, write your code in the center, which can be whatever engine you want, but in this case it's a Node.js or a JavaScript engine. And then over here you'll get a little REPL where you can just write code. So that's REPL stands for read, so it'll read 2 plus 2. It'll evaluate what 2 plus 2 means. It'll print out the answer, which is what that 4 is, and then it'll loop, so it'll let you just do that over and over again. So most people don't write code in something like this, but it can be a handy little space to sort of, test things out, write some variables. There's no Zoom link, so you get the YouTube video, and I just do this because it automatically records everything, puts it up live, so if anything goes too fast for you, you can always come back and watch it later, and also you can see my other 20. Yeah, so there's no Zoom link even for Eventbrite registers. You'll get to see on YouTube, but those tickets are for this live recording, basically. Okay, and then the challenge we're doing today is this year's Advent of Code Day 20. So if you haven't seen Advent of Code before, it's this awesome site where every December they release 25 sort of holiday themed challenges. So this year they're sort of all themed around submarine exploration for some reason. And this is what we're doing today, which I've just linked, day 20. So what I'll normally do is read through this. I'll break down what these problems are. There's normally a puzzle input, and all of these have a secondary part. So if it is too difficult, we won't get very far. We won't spend more than the next sort of 50 minutes on this. But if it is easy enough, then we'll finish the first half and we'll get a second challenge revealed to us. So that's the goal. So again, feel free to ask any questions. See, it's your first time coding, is that, Sai? So I'll try and bring it down quite a lot, but I might get carried away a bit, but let's see. Anyway, I'll read this scenario through so you can see how I might break something like this down. So day 20, trench map. With the scanners fully deployed, you turn their attention to mapping the floor of the ocean trench. When you get back the image from the scanners, it seems to just be random noise. Perhaps you can combine an image enhancement algorithm and the input image, your puzzle input, to clean it up a little. So where's my puzzle input? So everyone who signs up for this website will get a different puzzle input for this challenge. So this is mine, not particularly useful, but this is what I'll be putting into my algorithm. You'll have a slight difference, but hopefully my algorithm should solve your input as well. So here's an example. It seems to be sort of two big long lines of dots and pound signs or hash keys. The first section is the image enhancement algorithm, so that's this top bit. It is normally given on a single line, but it has been wrapped to multiple lines in this example for legibility. The second section is the input image, that's this one, that's a two-dimensional grid of light pixels represented by the hash and dark pixels represented by the dot. So I'm going to come back over here. So I have left a little snippet of code in that will read in those puzzle inputs for you. But what I'm going to do now is just write this in and put 2 slashes at the front. And what's this? This is called a comment. So what you can do here is you can write code that isn't valid JavaScript code, but prepend it with this to leave sort of handy plain English messages to yourself. So if you do control /, it'll automatically comment in whatever language you want in a lot of editors. But in JavaScript in particular, you have to have these 2 slashes like this. So that's where we can leave this handy note for ourselves later. The image enhancement algorithm describes how to enhance an image by simultaneously converting all pixels in the input image into an output image. Each pixel of the output image is determined by looking at a 3x3 square of pixels centered on the corresponding input image pixel. So to determine the value of the pixel at 510 and the output image, 9 pixels from the input image need to be considered. Yeah, so this is called, I think these are called kernels in image processing. These 9 input pixels are combined into a single binary number that is used as an index in the image enhancement algorithm string. For example, to determine the output pixel that corresponds to the very middle pixel of the input image, the 9 pixels marked by ... So these 9 outer pixels, actually including the main pixel. So all of these need to be considered. Starting from the top left and reading across each row, these pixels are ... then light, dark, dark, I think they are, then dark, light, dark, or maybe backwards. Dark, light, dark, yeah. Okay, converting the dots into zeros and them into ones, we get a binary number, 34. Okay. And then we look up the 34th character in that string, which is fine. In the middle of this first output group of characters, characters at index can be found as a £. So the pixel in the center of the output image should be a £. This process can then be repeated to calculate every pixel of the output image. Through advances in imagery technology, the images being operated on here are infinite in size. Every pixel of the infinite output image needs to be calculated exactly based on the relevant pixels of the input image. A small input image you have is only a small region of the actual infinite input image. The rest of the input image consists of dark pixels. For the purposes of the example to save on space, only a portion of the infinite size input is shown. So this is good. It means that we don't actually have to worry about changing our algorithm on corners and edges, basically. We can apply the algorithm to every pixel simultaneously to get this, so we're sort of dilating the space. And continue. Okay, start with the original input image, apply the image enhancement algorithm twice, being careful to account for the infinite size of the images. How many pixels are lit in the resulting image? Weird. Okay, that doesn't sound too bad. So let's start with this example here, because that'll be easier than using this massive example. So we've got 2 things that we need to extract here. So in the example I provided here on REPL, there's already 2 files in here you can use. So index.js is our code, input.txt is a file that I've made so we can paste in our input image. If you refresh the page, this stuff should all update if you are watching it live, so you should see that that's in there. And the next thing I need to do is basically extract those 2 things. So this is apparently our algorithm, and this is apparently our image. So let's get those out. So I've got some stuff here that imports a library called fs, reads an input, splits it by new lines. Don't worry about this stuff. This is probably the hardest bit of code you're going to see today, so I'm not going to take ages explaining what all that means. You can just press play, and if you type input here, you'll get our 2 images. Oh no, it's split them by new lines. Instead of splitting them by new lines, no, that's pretty handy. I'll leave it like that. Right, so the next notion we're going to need is variables. So you can see here this keyword here, var. That's how we can create a variable. So I can make something like var my age equals 27. And if I run this, I can access that my age variable over here. I can even increment that by adding 1 to it. I could add it to itself. So this is the first variable you may have seen. So what we're doing here is we're basically taking a box and we're writing on that box as if we're moving houses or something like that, or trying to store all of our, Christmas presents or all the things in our kitchen or something in a box or a drawer. And we're sort of writing on the side of that drawer a handy name to help us find what we need later. So we might say, all of our medicine might be in a particular box. So we might write medicine on the side. It doesn't change anything about the box. It doesn't even change what's inside the box, right? We could empty out our medicine box and just fill it with random stuff, and that medicine label would be an awful label, but it would still be the correct, it would still be a label. So we can have like var medicine, and we can have that just contain the number 100, for example. And if I access medicine again, it's still got 100. So the name doesn't actually correlate to anything useful. It's purely for us to try and make things a bit more readable. So when we do write things like my age plus 1, it's almost an English sentence. It's almost, a birthday, right? We can represent things with these more standard English names. So we've got a variable. Instead, what I'm going to do is try and get these two inputs separate. So we've not talked about what this structure is yet. So maybe I will go back to my age. So my age is 27. If I ask you what type is my age, you might not have an answer. This is a notion quite unique to computer science, that different data structures and different data types have types. So if I call the type of function, and when I say function, I just mean any word with these brackets afterwards. So function is something that can take, it'll have a function name, it'll have open brackets, and it can have any number of parameters inside those brackets. So we can have parameter 1, parameter 2, and these are also variables. These can be named anything we want. It's not a real function though, but there are real functions built in. So type of is one function, and that takes a parameter of a thing, and it'll return a string, which is what these quotes are, of type. So we could say type of, quote, cat. That's considered a string. So our names are strings, for example, our ages and numbers. Then we can have what's called a list or a dictionary. This is how we would store perhaps, a register of names at a school. So we could do type of, let's actually do that separately. So let's say var my list equals, I'll say Joe, Sam. So now if I look at my list, it's a list with those items in it. I can also do type of my list, and we'll get, that's called an object in JavaScript. JavaScript is quite, well, I don't know if it's unique in that regard, but they call this an object. I would separate an object as something with like key value pairs, and a list is just what it says, a list of similar variable types, or just a list of anything really. It could be, a cat and a number. That's still a valid list in my eyes. So yeah, what I'm going to do is input is already a list. So you can see that by these square brackets at the top and bottom. And I can see I've got my image enhancement algorithm, though it's been split onto new lines, which isn't ideal. And I've got my image, which has been split onto new lines, which is ideal. And then in between them is this empty one. So what I should be able to do is split on that. I'm not sure if input has a split function though. No, it doesn't. Okay, so let's make a new variable. Let's call it image algo. And that's going to equal everything up to that empty one. So I can get the empty one by using another function called index of, and also by splicing the list. So if I splice, it'll tell me some information. So start, delete count. That's not really what I want. Is slice what I want? Slice gives me a start and an end. So that sounds better. So I'm going to want to slice from this first line to this end line. So 0 will refer to that first line. And then I'm going to say input.index of empty line. And now if I get image algo, there we go. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. And I've got 7 lines. So that looks good. Next, I want to store the actual image in a 2D array. So let's call that exactly the same, input slice, but instead I want to slice up to the end of the line. So if I ignore that end parameter, it will just slice all the way up for me, I think. Image, I've still got that one, so I actually need to go one further than that because I don't want to include the empty line. There's our image. Doesn't look very imagey, but it is correct. Just checking the first one and the last one. So now we've got our image algorithm. which is also not correct because it should just be one string. So I can add a join function there to just join with nothing. So that will make that one big string now instead of a type, which is what I want. So I'll be able to find an individual character in that quite easy. And then my image is still an image, but I'm going to write a quick function. So if I say const print image equals image. Hello, Colin. Feel free to ask any questions and I'll try to help. It will have to be about this challenge. Image dot for each line console.log line. So now if I call print image on my image, I get a nice little print out there and an extra line for some reason. Because my image has an extra line. No? For each line. Weird. Image.join. Did that add an extra one? No. Okay, well, print image is misbehaving a little bit, but that should be okay. So what I've done there is I've written my first function myself. So const is another keyword like var, so you can actually store variables using x, using let, and using const. Now they all behave the same to start with, so they all store a variable, but var can be redefined. So I could say let x equal 10, now x is still 10. Y can be redefined, and let is sort of the newer version of var. They do have some differences scope-wise, but we won't go into that. And then z equals 10. That won't work because you can't reassign a constant value. So const is good if you want to store something like, you know, the value of pi or something like that, something that isn't going to change in the running of your code. Yeah, you should, if you go on, Colin, if you go on that link, you should be able to see all of my lines of code. And it should update automatically, but I'll also link that, but you'll lose some stuff if you copy it there. Right, so now we're printing our image, and what's not shown in that image is that actually it's surrounded by dots, right? Now, how we can deal with that is we can either pad loads of dots around it, before each line, above each line, and we only need to do this once, right? We need to bound the whole image. So let's do that. So let's say const bound image, or we could say like add darkness or something like that. So this is going to add dots around this. This is going to be useful because we can get all the digits around a space without having to worry about going out of bounds. So if I had something like that, let's say cat and dog in a list. Oops. Cat and dog in a list. I can access these by their index. So let's say var list equals this. So if I do list 0, I get cat. If I do list 1, I'll get dog. If I do list 2, it doesn't exist, and that can be a problem. And sometimes accessing like that can cause an error. It probably will do in this image searching. So this is going to take an image, and it's going to return a new image, which is another keyword we haven't seen. So this function is actually going to return something instead of just doing something for us. This is the difference between what's called a subroutine and a function. A function, I believe, has to return something. So this is going to return new image. Let's say let new image equal image. Then I'm going to add, oh, can I shift? And then I should be able to do let new image equal add darkness image, and then I should be able to print the new image as well. So let's do that. It should look exactly the same now. because all I've done is just made a new image, return that new image, but that image is the same as the image. If I do new image 0, 0, I should be able to overwrite a character like this. And it should, oh, it didn't. Why didn't it? New image is a separate image, but it is returned here. Oh. Maybe I need to split everything in here as well. So put dot slice dot map line becomes line dot split on every character. There we go. So now I've got this list of images, and then console.logging isn't really the right thing to do anymore, but it looks okay, so I'm going to leave it. So now we can overwrite individual items in our array, though I'm not going can. So I can do, so how am I going to add something to this list? I can do new image dot push. That will need to push in a bunch of zeros of the same size. They're actually dot split that, so that should push a new list in there. We actually want them to be one bigger than that, so this needs to be the length of one of our lines plus one. So we should also probably go into each one and add before and after. So new image dot for each line, line dot prepend. How can I push into a push to start of this JavaScript? Unshift. I'm guessing shift is the other one I want, so I can do unshift, and I'm just using zeros here to make it obvious that I'm changing something. So I can unshift, I can, I guess, shift. Oh, no. I guess unshifting is getting rid of the first one. I think I can just push for the other one. Ooh. Oh, has it become too long to see on one line now? It's annoying. Well, that is annoying. Why is it doing that? Okay, I need a better print image function then. Let's line equal an empty string. In each one I'm going to do line plus equals to line dot for each character in there. And I'll do line plus oh, I can't do line because I'm already using line there. Print line plus equal to character. And then console log print line. Oh, and I need to reset print line inside each. For each, inside each here. There we go, now we're getting our image with that padded darkness on the left and right. Oh really? Let me refresh the page. Should all be there. Should just be a little bit behind, that's all. but here's all the code. I can't send all the code in the chat. If you give me line numbers, I can give you the updated line numbers, but otherwise it should definitely come up if you refresh the page. You might just need a little bit of time to catch up with me, that's all. Yeah, it looks up to date to me. Might just need a little bit of time to catch up, that's all. Okay, so I need to know how many zeros I need to be pushing into this bottom one. So I need to get the length of each one. So I could just do new image dot, just get the first item in that list with the 0, get the length. And I'll just console.log that to make sure it's what I'm expecting. So it should be 5. Oh, no, because I've already made it 7. Well, that's okay, that's better. So the length is 7. So I think I can just do, something like this, 0 times 7. No, that's turning it into a number. Yeah, it doesn't save automatically, so I might have needed to just save on my file, Colin, apologies. So I need some way of getting 7 sevens now from 7 zeros, sorry. I would have thought I could just multiply it, but it looks like that's instead doing 0 times 7. So I'll have a Google, multiply a string, JavaScript, string.repeat is probably what I want. 0.repeat 7, there we go. So 0.repeat, I want to use the length. And that should push my bottom line. Nice. Ooh, let's do push bottom line. And we've already found our shift function, to be honest. So that's quite a long line, so we could probably extract this out if we want to make it a bit more readable. So we could say something like, you know, let's get zeros equal, well, let's call it zeros equals this all equals zeros, and then we can just put those zeros in there. We don't need that extra bracket, and then we get the same thing, but it's a bit more readable. Push zeros.split should be zeros.split like that. There we go, got our zeros. We can do exactly the same thing with our unshift function that we used before. And there we go. So now we've got it padded by zeros. I could put dots there instead. So to make that change, all I have to do is put dots here, dots here, dots here. And there we go. So now we've got our original image surrounded by darkness, as expected. Later on, we'll probably need to adjust it. Actually, we won't need to adjust it at all because it should work for any image size, so that's okay. As long as we update our image outside of this, we now have our darkness. Next, what we need to do is actually get the surrounding digits. So given a coordinate, the lines you're writing in are confusing. Might have to be more specific, but I have done quite a lot there, so apologies. I will say there's 20 other videos on this channel, so if this one's going a bit too fast, some of the earlier ones that are a bit shorter might be easier to follow. Okay, so next I need to write some sort of function, so maybe get grid that will get the like surrounding 9 characters. I'll refresh. Const get grid, let's call it X and Y. So those will be my positions for X from the left and Y from the bottom. And for this, I'm expecting to return something like ... Well, it would probably be dot something like this shape. So let's build up to that. So given we get 0, 0, we should be getting these top 9 coordinates. So dot hash dot is what we're expecting. And let's do console.log. Yeah, it will change, it just won't change instantly. I think I can share like multiplayer mode as a link. That might be helpful. Though, let's see if it's... Yeah, that will let everyone edit, so I don't want that. How do I share it? I'm not sure if there's a way I can share it, so you'll just have to be a bit behind. Again, this video is recorded, so if it's going a bit too quick, you can always jump back a couple of minutes or rewatch it another time, and this stuff will still be here. But I can't share it because you'll be able to edit my code, basically. What does publish do? No. Right, so where was I? I should be able to call getGrid. In fact, I should be able to call printImage on getGrid because I'm going to be returning a new image. And that can be 0, 0, so that should get those top 2 ones, but for now I'm just fudging it. So there's our extra print image. That's what I wasn't supposed to do here. Yeah. Cool, so that's looking good. So here's our little grid, or our little mini image, if we want to call it that. But it's not actually doing anything, it's just returning what I told it to return. So instead, how do I slice a 2D array? Whoa. Maybe I'll write to my own then. So let's say, I'll just build up to it. So let's say let row 1 equal, I need the image as well. Image XY, new image 0, 0. It won't be 0, 0 because it'll have to go to 1, 1 in the new image, or 0, 0 in the original image. So row 1 is equal to image dot slice x y. So this isn't exactly right because we should be, the xy should probably refer to the center of what we're looking for. So this will be something like, for now, +1, +2, and then that should just be row 1, row 2, row 3. Ooh. So yeah, this isn't right because it should be slicing from image y. That should be image y +1 to get all of our separate rows here. Y +2. And then we want to get from x to x +2, I think. So that should get me 3 in each row. Oh, that looks close. Let's do +3. Cool, so there we go. So we've got the right image, but we've kind of come at it from the wrong way. So this is only going to work for the first, assuming it's already always in the first position, when really our x is going to be the center. So it probably needs to be like x minus 1 to x plus 2. This should also be x plus 2. This should also be x minus 1. In fact, they should all be that. So our x should be referring to the center of our grid search, which should be this one. So that one should be 1, 1. So then we should be going to 0, x minus 1, 1, 2, which is 1 plus 2 would be 3, but it only goes up to that upper bound. And then our y should instead be y for the central one, y minus 1 for the top one, and y plus 1 for the next one. Which won't work because it's 0, 0, which is out of bounds, but that's okay because we're going to use 1, 1. There we go, we've got our grid. I should be able to get anywhere else in the grid. So if I do 1, 2, it should be this point. So I should see 3 dots, pound dot dot, pound dot dot. Oh, did I change the y? Should be 2, 1, sorry. Right, yes, there it is. Cool, so we've got it now. Next we need to iterate over each of them and get our grids. So we need to go up to the length of this minus 1. So let's do const new image length equals new image first row dot length. We know that should be 7 already, but we can check it. Yep. Oops. Then we also need to know its height, which happens to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think it happens to be the same, but we can actually calculate that with the same function, just without that 0, 0. So let's call that height. New image height, also 7, that's fine. And we can do for x equals, it should start at 1. Oops, for var x equals 1, because it starts at 1, x is going to go up to new image length minus 1 because it's 7 and I only wanted to go up to 6 for here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. Then x plus plus, so that will iterate over our x coordinates for us. I need the exact same thing for our y coordinates. Y 1 up to new image height minus 1, y plus plus, indent this, and then in here I should be able to just do this but with our grid references, so x and y. I'm just going to log the x and y as well, console.log x, y. There we go. So now I can verify these with each one. So we've got at 1, 1 we should be here, so we should be seeing this little grid section around it. All dots, all looks good. 1, 2 doesn't look right. So 1, 2, y. So 1 will be row 1, y2 will be here, but somehow that's got a dot dot. How has it done that? Why are they the same? They definitely shouldn't be. Let's go back and look at my little function up here. So for 1, x is 1, y is 2. So we should be on this row. So row 1. Ooh. So we're in image y. So image 1, image sorry, that's image 0, image 1, image 2. So image 2, and then slicing the X and Y to the left. I'm reading them the wrong way around. That's why. I tricked myself with my extra print image here, that's why. So let's clear this. Right, there we go. So 1, 1 is those top 3 there. 1, 2 should be the center on this one. So it should be blank, pound, blank, blank, pound, blank, blank, pound, pound, which is what it is. And I guess I'll just check the last one, which should be all blanks, pound, pound, blank, all blanks, which it is. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. Next, I need to shift these around into an actual number. So let's do const get, I don't know, value, get new pixel equals image, maybe a mini image, next line. So I should be able to call get new pixel with this. So let's say let grid equal get grid new image there, print image grid, and we can call get new pixel with that grid as a function. And let's just console.log that for now so we can see them running every time. Undefined, but I've not returned anything yet. So let's just return 34 every time, just so we can see it working. Right, so in mini image, we've got, we'll do mini image dot join new line to convert it from 3 rows of 3 into 1 row of 9. So I can just return that there so we can actually see it. So there we go, dot dot dot, pound pound dot, we can see they've been joined. Oh, they're still a comma separated list. Yes, they are. Okay. So I can't just do join, or I could do join and remove the extra commas. Dot place comma with nothing. There we go. Oh no. Maybe I can't do that then. Let's do mini image dot map line to line join empty brackets dot join on the empty brackets again. There we go. That got what I wanted. Now we need to convert that into binary. So let's do let line equal that. Console.log line. Oops. That's extra lines. We don't need that because it's already console logging. Now I need to convert that into something useful. So let's say line.replace. It needs a string or a regex. Can I just do a dot? The 0. I did just try this a second ago. No. Dot replace string. Does it have to be? Search for a value and returns a new string. Oops. So I need to store this somewhere, that's why it's not updating. It's only doing the first one. So do I need to find all matches with with a little bit of regex. Like a dot. No? Does it not need to be in quotes? That's replaced everything with G. Oh. Can't just do that because that refers to everything in regex, I think. I don't think it'll. Can escape the dot? No. Escape the dot? That? Oh, I didn't think I'd be writing regex now. Definitely not explaining that. That's called a regular expression if you want to Google it. Then that can have a pound sign, which I guess doesn't need escaping. There we go, we got our binary for each one now. Yeah, that's looking good. Then what am I doing with that? I just wanted to check if I got light and dark pixels the right way around. So dots become zeros, which is fine. Okay, that looks good. Then I need to convert that into decimal, so convert binary to decimal JavaScript. I think I can just do parseInt to do this. Yeah, parseInt binary. So return parseInt line 2, and now I should start getting nice normal numbers. 48, 134, and I actually need that if from the image algorithm. Now we finally make use of our image algorithm. Use that indexing that we've already seen in our lists. And there we go, we've got our new character for each time. So let final image equal this. Can I even push into that? Final image x, y, minus 1 equals this, get new pixel grid. So if I look at final image now, oh no. It's only got one list in there. Do I need to make it 2D? No, that's not good. Because it should be final image like that. Can't set undefined, so I think this needs to have the same length as what we've already seen. Otherwise I'm just adding unnecessarily. That's 7, 4, 5, 6, 7. Final image. There we go. So we got, ooh. So we grew the image a bit. It was 5, and it still is 5, so that looks good. I can print final image, print image, final image. So I'll do that out here, final image. So there's our final, and where was our original? Let's go back to the original image too while we're here. Print image, image. So there's our original image has been eroded a bit, but the inner bit of that is our original image, and this is our new image. I'll just check if we should be getting .33 after one iteration. No, it doesn't look right at all. Oh, was I supposed to do it to the outer ones? It didn't give me that example. So I should be doing That's my first one. Or should I be doing it to the ones above it as well? That's probably the difference. Why did I pad it all with darkness then? I need to pad it with darkness twice. Is that right? How did they get that? Because it shouldn't grow otherwise, but it did grow. So I should have, this should still be inside the image somewhere though. Because it shouldn't be using any new information. Starting image looks like this with more dark pixels. Starting from the top left. Yeah, I'm going to add 2 layers of darkness then. Like this. New image. So it should get even bigger. Ooh. Can't be a let anymore. So now I should have a really big dark image, which I do. And then I want to iterate over. 1 in is correct. I think is that all correct? But it shouldn't be 5 long, it should be 7 long now because I've added 2 extras. Oh, that looks good. Still got my 3 dots there. That's not right. How did I calculate that 34? So starting from top left, reading across each row, these pixels are, so let's go back to my 1, 1. No, because, why is that so different? Why did they get 34? So my first one is now this cell, which should be getting 1, and in my image algorithm it should be 1, so that's fine. But I should be getting something else. I am using the test one that they gave here. Yeah. So I have successfully grown it, it's just not correct. Not even close, unless it's sideways, which looks quite good sideways actually. How have I done that? Oh yeah, I have, look, there's the 3. And there's my 3. I got my 4 next to it. There's my 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the next row should be a light, dark, dark, light, dark, light, and I got a light, dark, dark, light, dark, dark. So it is there, it's just upside down, or sideways, backwards, which doesn't actually matter. So we should be okay. So I could call it twice. I only have to call it twice for this example as well, so I might just do that. So what do I need to do again? I need to darken the whole image again. I basically need to rerun all this, but with no new variables. Oh, and some stuff is dependent, I mean this is dependent on the number of things I've got, so it's pretty unlikely. So I think I'm going to leave it there with 5 minutes to go instead. Apologies for that. You could finish it by getting it to run again. This should probably all have been a function that I wrote that did that. That would have helped. And obviously you can't do this unless you know that your input is only 5 tall. So you need to do something similar to what we did with that 0, multiplying it. But I'll leave it there for the next 5 minutes. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask in the chat. If you want any advice on what to learn next, anything like that, go for it. But otherwise, I'll leave it there, and thank you very much. Bye-bye. I'm just going to refresh it so you can see the code again, Colin. It should be all right. It should all be saved. but sadly not enough to get that started. That was probably the closest one we've had in a couple of weeks. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Bye bye.